Right, this is going to be my review of the Cold Steel Gladius machete. Now, in the UK, Cold Steel, they're really starting to pick up. I mean, in America, they're absolutely huge, but I mean, the wave's starting to come over here now, and the products, they're increasing in popularity by a large margin. Now, you can obviously see that with the price. I mean, in the UK, we pay an upmarked price on almost everything. There's no exception with these machetes. This Cold Steel Gladius machete actually cost me £40 online, which, you know, compared to America, you can get them there for about $40. So yeah, they're expensive, but I do believe they are worth it though. Now, before I go into too much detail, I just want to go through some of the technical specifications. You just have to forgive the tablet here, but I just don't want to add about 15 annotations later on because I've said something wrong. So I'll keep to metric. The weight of this machete, including the sheath, is ½ kilogram. The blade length in total is 48 centimeters. The handle is 20 centimeters, and the handle itself is made out of polypropylene. Now, I've probably murdered the pronunciation of that, but in plain English it's tough plastic. Now, you've got a 1055 high carbon steel blade. That's pretty standard. Obviously, high carbon steel being a bare necessity for machetes because you need a flexible yet strong blade that's not going to smash. Overall length 68 centimeters. And it's made in South Africa, so it's pretty typical of Cold Steel. So talking about the sheath, I've heard Cold Steel sheaths, they're not all that popular. I mean, they are pretty cheap, but they are by no means the worst, what are they called, sheath I've ever seen. As you can see, there is no cheap stitching. It is riveted into place. You've got a nice little plastic protection on the end here, so the blade doesn't slip out and stab you in the leg. I mean, I've got the Gerbigator Junior, and I thought the sheath on that was awful. I mean, the stitching on it was quite low quality. There's only a couple of little rivet buttons in it which were holding it in place. And the fastening strap made out of Velcro that was attached to it's fallen off. Luckily, Cold Steel have gone with this little typical button clasp, which keeps the machete in place, and obviously you've got your standard belt loop. Now, it does keep a good job of keeping the machete in, it doesn't rattle much. It is pretty firmly in place. You don't have to worry about it sliding out and poking you in the leg because of the protection on the end. So overall, not the best of sheaths, but it's pretty solid for what you're getting. Okay, let's start with the machete itself. First thing I'd like to mention is the handle is very comfortable. Now, as I say, it's made out of that tough plastic, which for a machete is a giant bonus because if you're using, say, a little camp axe with a wooden handle, all the shock of the impact of the axe, say the axe hitting the log or whatever, is going to travel up that axe straight into your arm, and it's going to, you know, put a bit of wear and tear on you. You're going to feel it. With these thick plastic handles, you can swing all day. They're very efficient at absorbing shock, and they are pretty good if you're looking to do a lot of, you know, like root chopping or whatever it is you intend on doing with these. So as you can see, the pommel, it is absolutely enormous. If you've got small hands, you can probably use this two-handed, but more often than not, this is going to be a one-handed piece, because that pommel is enormous. It does come with a lanyard loop. I would always recommend putting a lanyard on a machete. But so I think that's enough about the grip itself. Talking about the blade, as mentioned, it's 1055 high carbon steel. It's going to be flexible. It's not going to shatter. So you're pretty durable there. Now, I have heard some concerns raised about this machete in particular because of the double edge. As you can see, it is sharpened on both edges. Out the box, it did come pretty sharp, you know, compared to a lot of other machetes I've bought. So just take note of that when you're taking it out the box. But because of its double edge, I've heard people saying it's not really a heavy duty machete. Now, if you've seen the heavier duty machetes, they'll typically have just the one edge along the bottom, and then the blade thickens out as you get nearer the top. Now, that's obviously just to add a lot more weight into each individual chop. So this machete, where would you limit it to? It's difficult because if you look on the Cold Steel channel, I will add the link to this video, you see them cutting through like pig carcasses, simulated human torsos and everything, you know, bits of bamboo, you know, thick cardboard, a lot. Obviously, I'm not even going to bother doing a cutting test with this because Cold Steel have got that covered. But in practical terms, what would I use this for? You know, shrubbery, thick roots, maybe branches in 2 inches circumference at max. I mean, it's a handy little machete, but I wouldn't go too far with it. Now, as you can obviously see, the point on it is absolutely enormous. Now, the practicality of that, it may come into question, but if you're looking, honestly, if you're looking for like a display sword or something you want to chop a few bottles and pieces of fruit off, as well as something you could use as a machete, this is perfect for you. I mean, I made a video not too long back talking about cheap swords. They can go up to about £50, yet they're made out of horrible stainless steel and be literally breaking off if you try and swing them. These are really good alternatives. They're practical, yet they're good wall hangers as well. They may be a bit expensive, especially in the UK, but the quality, I have to say, they are worth it. Now, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be this heavy. I mean, ½ kilogram for a machete like this does seem a bit excessive, and as you can probably tell, being based on the Roman Gladius, it is upscaled quite a bit. You know, this is a fairly big blade if you go by the specifications I read out in the start of the video. But that's pretty much my overall review. Obviously, I like this machete. It's big. Out the box, it's fairly sharp. For me, at least, it's got quite some practicality because the shrubbery around where I live isn't too bad. And as a general display piece, I think it's great. So I generally would recommend you pick one of these up, and cheers for watching.